How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to One Take, and today we are talking about Obsession, a movie that is really taking hold a lot of movie fans and critics alike. So we figured we're gonna dive pretty deep into our thoughts on it, and also talk about at the end other movies that are good. Spoiler alert for Obsession. But some of the
Mm,
best movies that are one-word titles, since
yep.
that's what Obsession is. So, uh, let's start with our Obsession review. Are we gonna just say spoiler warning here from the beginning, or do you want to try to wait a little bit?
Um, I mean, I think we should just do our best to not spoil it, but if we have to, we'll just give a forewarning
Yeah.
of saying this may be a spoiler.
Okay.
Um, but yeah,
I think for this movie, I feel like I should be able to work fully without spoilers. I don't think there's really anything
probably.
too
Yeah,
crazy.
probably.
Um, so yeah, what's your initial reaction? Well, it's not initial reaction. We saw it
Uh,
about 3 days ago,
three
three
or
or
four
4 days
days ago,
ago.
yeah.
We saw opening night,
Hmm.
which in hindsight was a great decision. Uh,
Yes.
Good theater experience, and so now we've sat with it for a few days now. So this
Mhm.
is our immediate reaction after a few days.
Right.
So what is it?
All right, so I guess I'll start off. So I was telling Dave before that generally speaking, when after I watch a movie and I have to think about it for multiple of many days, generally speaking, that's usually not a good sign because throughout that time I have time to think about all more problems about it. However, this movie has actually had the opposite effect on me and I've grown to actually like it more than my initial reaction. So my initial reaction, I think I just went in with too high expectations because of just the reviews and word of mouth that have been going on about it. I expected it to be like the best movie ever. Not saying that it wasn't, um, or that people think it is. Also, it's definitely very good.
But it was
Like I
so it
said,
was so
yeah.
highly like
Yes.
I had also heard a lot of just really high praise, and it does seem
Yeah.
like one of those movies where it seems to be so popular and everything, it's almost impossible to not have it be possibly overhyped. I don't know, maybe other people
Right.
are just right there with it, but I could see what you're saying.
Oh, I understand the hype for sure. After watching it, of course. I plan on actually probably seeing it again this week with Tayson if you're around, but that's beside the point. But yeah, I have to think about it more. Indy Neferati, if that's her name, I think she has, if not the best performance of the year. A lot of people have already been saying that, including you. Um,
I would
I
agree, yep.
think that trying to think of the way to word this without spoiling too much. I mean, one of the big things for me, as far as like a flaw, would be like dialogue. I think that, and also empty space after dialogue. Sometimes it felt a little overused at points to the point of where um, it almost felt dull at moments. But then it picked up very much so if and when you are to watch it, or not you, but other people. And yeah, I mean, I'm probably forgetting some stuff, so I'll let you take it away with your thoughts if I can
Sure.
think of more.
Yeah, well, I'll start on the positive side just because that's how I like to jump into it. And I just want to say this is already a very, very close contender for my favorite movie of the year. Has there
Hmm.
been a lot of competition? In my opinion, not really. But I
Yeah.
really like this movie. It's also been one that has stuck with me, as you have said, over the past few days. But for me, the a strong majority of the time, if a movie sticks with me, that is
Hmm.
a very, very good thing. I think
Sure.
I very much am against, and I don't enjoy movies that don't have some sort of staying power. If I watch a movie and I forget it very quickly,
Right.
I probably didn't have that good of an experience to some extent.
Huh.
But this one has stuck with me. I think this is just such um, an incredible piece of work from a young filmmaker who
Yeah.
I am very inspired by what Curry Barker was able to do here and everybody on the crew.
Hmm.
This is a group of very young filmmakers for the most part, and not a super crazy budget or anything, and very much the vision of the filmmakers involved. And I really respect that. I'm really inspired by that. And I hope other people are too, and can at least appreciate that, even if maybe you're not so much a fan of the movie. But even just with
Hmm.
the movie itself, ignoring all that, I really enjoy it. I think throughout the entire experience, I felt under a certain amount of pressure almost, or like a bit of tension, like almost entirely through this movie. And that's
Right.
a very hard thing to sustain. And this movie sits in a place where it really rides the line, I feel, between horror and comedy, where
In a way.
in the
Yeah.
hands of lesser filmmakers and actors also especially,
Hmm.
it could feel very silly or kind of just not good, I guess I could say. Where
Sure.
if Indy's performance, who I would say is the performance of the year so far, by
Hmm.
far, she is absolutely fantastic. Easily, like, there's been a few performances so far that I've been like, okay, I could see them being nominated for an Oscar and awards like that.
Sure.
Indy's the only one
Yeah.
that I'm just like, outright, she has to be nominated. Maybe somehow there's a bunch of other performances at this level the rest of the year. I think it's unlikely because I
Yeah.
think she's just
We'll
so
see.
good. She brings, again, I mentioned the charm all the time, which is something that I think that's one of the hardest things to get is to be,
Hmm.
especially in a role like this, which very quickly becomes not that, but to have that on-screen feeling where you watch her perform and you're like, okay, I see why this guy's into her. I see
Right.
why, like, I like this character. I want to root for her. And
Hmm.
then with what happens to her, it's such a jarring change in the character, and
Right.
she then brings the tragedy, she brings the fear. She's
Like the
horrifying.
energy shift.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's sweet, she's beautiful, she's like she has the presence
Hmm.
both in the best and the worst ways when it need exactly when it needs to happen,
Right.
and it's just such a great performance. I think the cast as a whole is really good. I think the
Hmm.
camera work is very interesting, and I liked it. I I would slightly agree if I were to get into negatives a little bit with I think the editing side of things. Maybe at times slips a tiny bit, not a big negative. I don't really have any big negatives. The other one would be I think the use of shadows is compelling
Right.
a lot of the time and interesting, but there comes a point where you just do something too much. And I do think that this movie crosses the line a little bit with the overuse of shadows and sometimes just being a bit too dark. Not
Hmm.
like a huge negative, but a small thing. At the same time, there are sequences where shadows are used that are absolutely immaculate and incredible.
Right.
So, at the end of the day, that was the style they went for, was a very dark sort of look, and I think it worked more often than it didn't. There were just some times where it wasn't so great.
Yeah, I agree. There were times when I was like, "Am I seeing this right? Am I supposed to be seeing something?" But it's just a complete shadow. I was like, "Okay,
Yeah,
that's fine."
yep.
But
I'm trying to think of what else I have here. In terms of the story, oh, the dialogue. I know you mentioned the dialogue. You don't like
yeah.
it. I thought it was good. I
Well,
actually,
and
I quite liked
to
it.
begin with, I was like, "Okay, can we, um, I guess, step it up a little bit? Let's get into it more." But
Okay.
then it got better throughout.
Okay. Yeah, I think I think the pace of the dialogue kind of matched the pace of the movie as a whole in a nice way. I think characters were given moments to think a little bit,
Hmm.
and I can see how you could say maybe it felt too long at times. I didn't quite feel that. Um, but yeah, I just think the setup's really cool, very simple, and some of the best horror movies have just such a simple setup of
Hmm.
guy, in this case, this guy makes a wish and it goes crazy. That being
Yeah.
said, that
Well,
does
he
tie into a
gets what he
negative.
wants. Yeah.
Yeah. Another small negative. And this, well, I don't even know if I'd call this a negative or if it's a mixed because this is kind of just a choice of the filmmaker, but I personally feel like it was weird how him making the wish. I guess this is a slight spoiler, but like this is kind of the setup of the movie. So this is within the first like 20
Hmm.
minutes. Him making the wish that she loves him more than any other person in the world. And that's his
Yeah.
specific wording, something like very similar to that. And
Yeah.
then almost immediately she starts doing just totally inhumane things like to
No. Yeah.
herself to the
Yeah.
point where I mean there's a bit of a montage showing that they have like a fairly normal like really good relationship, but I wish I
Hmm.
got a little more of a natural, I would say, kind of feeling
Yeah.
to her progression. It kind of just feels like out of nowhere, oh, she does something absolutely
Hmm.
insane. Like
No. Yeah.
I'm gonna avoid, this is a case where I could use spoilers, but I'm just gonna completely avoid it. I don't want to get into it, but hopefully people understand when they see it,
Hmm.
which you should absolutely see it. I totally recommend this movie.
Oh yeah.
Um, it's just out of nowhere that like there's no reason for a few of just the insane things she does. Like it just so
Right.
I wish that they didn't choose to completely break her humanity, if that makes sense.
In a way. Yeah.
Like some very fundamental like human nature sort of things. She just starts doing
Right.
like I because I want to
Yeah.
avoid spoilers, I'm not going to say any more than that. But it's a bit much. That being said, it
Hmm.
doesn't really take away much from the movie because that's just what they decided to do. They wanted to go for like the more overt horror. I maybe would have
Sure.
liked a bit
Yeah.
more kind of natural feeling, less of the
Hmm.
kind of demonic sort of stuff that they did. But that being said, I that's what they chose to do, and I don't think I would take away from the movie for that. It's just that would have been something that I would have liked to see more, but I
Yeah.
think they did a great job with what they wanted to do, and it was really really cool. So
No. Yeah. Actually, you took the words right from my mouth after you were done. I was gonna say I wish they would have played out exactly what you just said. The line where he's like, "I wish Nikki loved me more than anybody in the world." I wish they would have played out more in the whole love aspect. Like maybe Nikki, like I guess I'll call it a slight spoilers, even though it's probably not. Maybe if like Nikki like bombarded him with like roses or something, or like his favorite stuff, like have little bits where there's actual like feelings of affection and love there instead of diving like straight into the, I guess, um, over exaggeration of what that was
exactly.
meant to be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree a little bit. Again, that's their choice. It doesn't, for me, I don't see that necessarily as a drawback, but
Right.
yeah. And really interesting exploration of themes here of, you know,
Hmm.
codependency and the obsessiveness within relationships that rely on that.
Right.
And some sequences in this movie that just go, that dial it up to 11 and really
Sure.
just can creep you out and then in the next second also kind of make you laugh. You know, the dark comedy is definitely
Right.
there, which I really like. I would almost call this a horror comedy. I don't know. I think on rewatch I
Yeah.
would be able to classify it better, but I
Hmm.
think a lot of this movie was quite funny without getting too comedic. Like it still fits the tone,
Right.
and it was very intentionally done, in my opinion. It appeared so.
Hmm.
So yeah, I believe that's all I have to say for this movie. So yeah, my I guess I get to my rating. I would give this as of right now an 8.5 out of 10.
Hmm.
Um, the the rating might sound a little low for how many positives and so few negatives I have, but
Right.
I I don't know. I think on rewatch I think it's probably bound to go up at least a little bit,
Hmm.
but I don't know. I think there just wasn't enough for me to really feel like, oh, this is like one of the best movies I've ever seen. Like I just don't think
Hmm.
I just don't think it reaches those highs necessarily. It's not like there's any sort of like that many lows, but it just doesn't reach the highest highs for me.
Hmm.
But
Oh
definitely
yeah.
one I'm gonna go back to, and we'll see.
Totally agree. I guess I'll go with my rating. So as of right now, also, I am currently at like an 8.5. Like you said, I definitely think that with a rewatch, it will go up because of everything that we've been saying. But yeah, that's currently where I am, and yeah, I definitely recommend watching this movie if you haven't already. Even if you're not really a horror fan, I think people generally would probably appreciate or like this movie if they went to see it.
Sure. Yeah, I think this is the sort of movie that audiences should be supporting a lot more than,
Hmm.
you know, a lot of other stuff that gets put out there, in
Yeah,
my opinion.
sure.
It's an
Right.
original concept. It's made by people who are really care about what they're doing and that have their own unique vision about what they want to do. So this is the sort of thing that I think
Hmm.
everybody should be trying to support. That being said, if it's not a movie for you, understandable. But
Sure.
yeah, I'd highly recommend that everyone checks it out.
Yes, indeed.
So I suppose we can move
So,
on from there, and we
sure.
can we're just gonna bring forward some ideas for other single word movie titles
Yeah.
of really good movies.
Yeah.
So only one word, like words like the and a do count. So it can't be the something. That's two words.
Mm-hmm.
We're not gonna
Yes, it
try to
is.
mess around with that. It has to be one singular word. What are your favorite movies, John, that are just
You want,
one
you
word?
want me to list them all out or go
Let's
one
go
by
one at a
one?
time. I did
Okay.
make that sound like I want you to dump them all. No, let's go one
Okay.
at a time, back
Yeah.
and forth.
I mean, to start off, I think I'll just go with a somewhat generic answer, but it's also um, very accepting. I'm gonna go with Alien. You know, Sigourney Weaver basically defined the sci-fi genre into what it is, what it should be. The amount of scares and tension and suspense throughout the whole movie, you really feel it. I think Sigourney Weaver is amazing in it, and I mean, just the movie itself is amazing. The visual effects go crazy, and especially for the time period it is. You know, you can't get better than Alien.
Yeah. Yeah, the Xenomorph is just so cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alien, awesome movie. All right. My first pick, I'm gonna go with another horror movie. I'm gonna go with Saw.
Mm,
It's just iconic. I saw again my favorite franchise. Blah 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 blah. Really interesting
sure.
villain and morality of the villain. Really good lead
Hmm.
performances. Really compelling how it's very much focused on largely one location. The twists and turns are really fun, and it kicked off
Right.
a legendary horror franchise. So
Yes, it did.
really love Saw.
Okay. My next one, I'm gonna go with some animation, and I saw a bunch of clips of this, reminded me of it the other day, and I was like, oh yeah, that was really good. So I'm gonna go with Up.
Hmm.
I know that you have some feelings about Up, but I personally think that Up is one of, if not the greatest Disney Pixar movie ever. Up there with Wally, The Incredibles, also, of course. But even though it's such a, in a way, almost a simplistic story, they do so much. You really feel the emotion and depth of the story that they were able to add into it, all the bring it back to the like the Florida story. I really like the dynamic between Carl and I forget the kid's
Russell.
name, Russell. Carl and Russell, I think is great. You got Doug. You got um, the snipe. I forget his name also, but
Yeah, I don't remember that
that
one.
yeah. But yeah, really like that movie a lot. Um, recommend if you happen to have not seen it. But
Yeah,
yeah,
sure, sure. All right, my number two. I will go to Unbreakable. One of
yeah,
my all-time favorite movies I've talked about before on the channel, so I'm not going to get that much into it. It's
sure.
fantastic. It is a perfect movie in my opinion. I think it
Oh,
is it's in my top 3 right now. It's
mm,
so incredible. It's such an awesome story. The drama, the thrills, the way it ties into comic books and things like that. I'm not even a comic book person, but
right.
it's the greatest superhero movie of all time. And
Interesting. Okay.
it yeah, it's really good. I'm not going to go beyond that because I've already talked about it, but
Right,
Unbreakable, if you
right.
haven't seen it, very meaningful movie to me. One of the movies that got me into films as well, even
Hmm.
before we started doing this channel and stuff. It was well before that that I first saw it. So just incredible. Highly recommend.
Right. No, yeah, totally agree in that aspect. I think it's pretty good. Um, I guess I'll double up and go with another animated movie. I'm gonna go with Shrek. You know,
Yeah, love
both of us
Shrek.
kind of grew up on that. You can't, again, all like the tie-ins of like I don't know the right word. I guess like fairy tale stuff, tying in everything in that whole universe. I think they did very well. The comedy, can't get better than that. Mike Myers as Shrek is next level.
Don't
The
forget Eddie
story
Murphy.
itself, that
Eddie
too.
Murphy
They're
too.
making a donkey movie.
Oh,
Um,
really?
oh, you didn't know that?
No. I mean, I know Shrek
Yeah,
5's coming. Who knows what's gonna happen with that?
and
But
yeah, if it comes, yeah.
yeah, Cameron Diaz.
Um, yeah, Cameron Diaz. Everybody in it is great. The movie itself, as a whole, is also great too. You know,
Yeah.
can't get better.
Oh yeah, Shrek is a classic for sure. One of the best. One of the best for sure. All right. I'm going to go to Inception.
Yeah,
Inception is one of the best heist movies of all time. I think I love what Christopher Nolan does with the dreams and everything. Really stacked cast here that does a great job. The the emotional core of I forget his name, Cobb, Leonardo DiCaprio's,
mm.
going back to see his kids, what happened to his wife. What happened to his wife is just absolutely crazy.
I need to rewatch that. It's
I
been too long.
iconic sequences, the filmmaking craft behind the movie, like with the spinning room and everything, is very well
Mm,
known. Really impressive, especially for me as an engineer. Witnessing that tying in so closely to film is something that I find super cool.
mm,
And the ending is also legendary for a good reason. I think largely has been possibly misinterpreted in a lot of ways.
right.
But I like how it brings up such a interesting conversation about it. And yeah, just the dream stuff is just so cool and the action's awesome.
Mm,
So Inception's a good
fair
one.
enough. Yeah, that's true. I thought about adding that one, but I couldn't remember enough to actually talk about it. Yeah, my next one, I guess I'll go back in time a little bit to Ghostbusters. I really like this movie. I think, I mean, this is back in like what, the 80s or something.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that nothing like that has really, I mean, there's been ghost movies, but nothing like this. So I thought this was like game changing. The core four, I think, are awesome. The visual effects for that time period are also pretty good. The Michelin Man, all that good stuff.
Yeah. So
Um,
much iconic moments in that
yeah.
movie. It's the reason
Hmm.
why it held on so strong with like, pop culture.
Oh yeah, totally. And yeah, that's all I got for that. But you know,
Have you seen any of the
no,
newer Ghostbusters movies?
no, no,
No.
no, no.
I
I
haven't I can't say I have either.
I don't think. Well, I've seen a clip of um, I don't even know the name of the movies, but I've seen clips and I'm like, I don't know. They look fine.
It
Nothing like the originals though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the original just has such a magic to it that makes it unique.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
feel like even with the direct sequel that they made back in whenever that was, I think it was the
Sure.
late
Yeah.
80s or maybe early 90s. But
Might have
even
been
in the direct
90s.
sequel,
Yeah.
it sort of had it, but it didn't quite measure up to the original. The
Nah.
original just has
It
something
didn't hit the
without it.
same.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. All right, my next one, I'll stick to the horror comedy sort of idea,
Mm.
and I'm gonna go with Scream. This is
Okay.
my favorite horror comedy of all time. I think it's got such a nice balance between both. I like how it's a satire of the genre and it takes advantage of the tropes and for the most part kind of delivers on them, at times subverts them, and I get always a lot of good laughs out of it. Some really good
Mm.
scares. Ghost faces, of course, very well known now because of that movie and what it did. And Wes Craven as a filmmaker has done a lot of really good work, and I like what he did here with Scream. So awesome cast too. Awesome cast.
Mm. No, I agree. I knew that's. another due for a rewatch for me. Um, my last one, of which I did not think would end up on my list, but after great thought about it, it did. So I'm going with a holiday movie. I'm going with Elf.
Yes.
Now, see, at Christmas time, people always have their go-to, and Elf is always usually always on people's list of have to watch at Christmas time. Um, I think the story, Will Ferrell is actually pretty good in it. Um, there's a deep story into it that I really like. The whole aspect of um, trying to find Santa, Father, all that good stuff. Um, just a classic nostalgia of it. You can't
Hmm.
beat, and it's always on the list of best Christmas holiday movies. So I feel like I had to put it on there.
Yeah. The a scene that always will stick with me from that movie is when he realizes the mall Santa's not actually
Mm,
Santa, and then
yeah,
and then the guy chases after him and starts smashing all the Legos that he put together. Just the
yeah,
chaos that happens there. That's probably my favorite scene in the movie. That's so much fun.
hmm
Yeah, great
yeah.
movie,
It's a
great
fun
pick.
movie. Yeah,
Yeah, whole lot of fun. Has the Christmas spirit to it,
mm,
and yeah, one of the best Christmas movies. I think I'd be
one
comfortable
of
in
yeah.
saying that. Yeah. All right. My fifth and final one that I'll be bringing forward today is another Christopher Nolan, and it's going to be Memento.
Mm,
I just
yeah.
think that Christopher Nolan is a filmmaker that I really like a lot of his work. This is one of his best, if not his best, in my opinion. And I think almost a little bit underrated in terms of his filmography.
Hmm.
I think a lot of people have really enjoyed his bigger, more epic for lack of a better term, style movies, but I really like the slightly smaller scale, very tight story, very
Yeah.
unique style of storytelling that Christopher Nolan is very much known for. But I think this is the one that I think is the coolest of all of them, in my opinion, and is executed in the most unique way due to the nature
Hmm.
of what it's all about. And I just think the story and is so compelling and a lot of really interesting kind of pieces that get put together and the fact that throughout the entire runtime you have to be paying attention to where you were
Right.
earlier, how everything's kind of tying together and how things are going to meet at the middle.
Hmm.
It's just so brilliant that I don't know if it could ever be done again because it's just executed so well in
Hmm.
this film. So Guy Pearce is great. Joe Pantoliano is one of my favorite kind of supporting like character actors, if you want to call him that, and he's awesome. And yeah, Memento, definitely one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah, a lot on your list I've seen, but it's very much due for a rewatch.
Mm,
Um, Probably do that today, but yeah,
get them
excellent.
all done.
If I start now, I might be able to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
If you've seen Obsession, let us know what you think down in the comments below. If you haven't seen it, what are you doing? Go
Go
check it
see it.
out, especially
Yeah.
horror fans. Get to the
Hmm.
theater, support the people behind it. They did something really incredible with this movie,
Yes.
and
Hmm.
I think a lot of people enjoy it. So check out Obsession. And are there any other, one word movie titles of movies that you guys really enjoy? We only listed 10 out of obviously hundreds. So yeah, let us know which ones you guys enjoy the most, and we will catch you guys in the next one take. Thank you guys.